yo, we are back on the Been Busy podcast. It's been a couple of weeks and we didn't realize it's been that long since we last did one of these. Time went by really, really fast to start the month of April.
Wild. We've had so many things happen in the last few weeks too, so we're excited to catch up today. Got a lot to talk about. I'm thrilled to kind of like dive into some of our favorite things again this week. And yeah, how is it already the middle of April?
Yeah, we had friends in town for the Sweet 16 Elite Eight weekend, a baseball game. Then we had the Final Four. Shout out Paige Beckers. She got me some apparel. We'll make a post. You may have seen it on Instagram, but Shira did get me a Paige Beckers. I got a hoodie instead of a jersey. The jerseys were hard to come by. The
Hard to
Nike
come
Paige
by.
jerseys were all
Yeah.
sold out.
I'm a woman of my word, first. Second of all, I actually really think the sweatshirt's cool. Yes, the jerseys were hard to come by, but the sweatshirt says page and then it has buckets on it, which is really cool. So cool memory, awesome Final Four. So many really cool things happened. Women's game was kind of a blowout, but we've talked a little bit about that. But just the Final Four in general, like how exciting that was. Heartbreaker for Houston. Ugh, hurt me in all the ways. But also congratulations to Florida. I mean, I'm thankful I called that one out, and I'm thankful I got the two teams in the finals. So I will go with that. I will take the credit for that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more about it here in a few minutes. But yeah, Becker's Buckets hoodie. It looks very nice. We might end up getting some Page slides. I'm a big slides guy in the summer, and there's some Page sandal slides. Maybe I'll get for pool season at some point. But all Paige Becker's great ending. We'll talk a little bit more about the Final Four. I know we had the Masters and some other stuff going on too, but we'll catch up. Figured we might want to start. We usually talk a lot of sports on the front end, and then we get
Yeah.
into some of the health stuff. Figured we've got a big event for you and I coming up next weekend, and so kind of maybe flip the script a little bit, start on some of the health stuff that we've been focused on, as well as what we've been training for that my lovely wife has drugged me into, and can't wait to do it. But no, I mean let's just kind of kick things off. I know, babe, we've done a lot of things around the house over the last few months, but I know there's some things that even I was talking about with a buddy in Atlanta when I was there for work this week. That they've done the same thing, and it seems like people are getting on board with a better understanding of home products and how a lot of them can carry toxic things that are not good for your body, and just kind of give a rundown on some of the stuff that you've bought and switched out in our house that we are enjoying, and that you would recommend others maybe do as well.
Yeah, and again, I am not a professional. A lot of my work, and one thing I always share is I do a lot of research. I'm not like a person that I don't use TikTok. So I'm really just trying to find the good research, to be very honest. With recent changes in our lives, these are things I've been looking at prior to even being a type 1 diabetic, just because I'm passionate about doing better for us and trying to find the best things in our house. I think one of the first ones I want to start out with was I'm going to give a little shout out to my grandmother. My grandmother has gifted Chris and I years and years ago cast iron skillets.
Shout out Charlene.
Yeah, she's the best. And she's taught a lot of the things actually prior, like growing up and just continually connecting with her. She's shared a lot of really great tips for me that are non-toxic that she's done over the years. And I think like probably our grandparents did a lot of things too similar. And then we've gotten in this world where everything is like convenient and it's supposed to be super clean and toxic smells and fragrances and all of that. And I'm just trying really hard to like weed through the weeds, if that makes sense, and like figure out what is really worth it and what's really not. But I think one of the big things is cooking with utensils that are clean or that are going to last, unlike plastics. And so we use cast iron skillets for everything now. It's been a huge change for us. We've really enjoyed it too. Our food tastes a little bit better. I think there's just a little bit more, it cooks better in a cast iron skillet. So we use cast iron skillets. Got rid of all plastic utensils. Everything else we have is stainless steel. So when it comes to cooking, it's kind of a non-negotiable now. Just with the heat, things that can microplastics that can contaminate your food. It's just been a really big thing for me just to try and eliminate any extra things that we can get rid of in our house. The other thing is aluminum foil. Aluminum foil seeps in a lot of aluminum with heat into our bodies, and all of us know aluminum is not good for you. So we've got rid of aluminum foil. We use, if we need to use something, one of the things that I really dove into was using parchment paper, but making sure it's not bleached because again, there's chemicals on that. It gets tricky, and I think like every time I think I'm doing a little bit better, I'm like, oh, but this is still toxic. So I think a lot of it's grace and learning is the big thing for me. We've got rid of all of our plastic cutting boards. That's been a big one too. Any kind of like utensil that cuts into that, you can see like the cuts already going right into your food. I've actually like years ago noticed that and didn't even realize that that would be contaminating to us. So we've done with all bamboo wooden boards. Some people use different things. You just got to keep them clean. And leading into cleanliness, my big thing right now is the products that we're using to clean everything. So I switched everything over to Branch Basics for the most part, just because I want a cleaner solution for our tables and our countertops and our bathrooms and different things. And it is hard, like to get the right things, but I do think there's a great ability to understand that you have clean products that you're putting on your services and what you're using. So I'm not putting something there that I have no idea how to pronounce or understand what it does to me. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things I like to share. My most favorite though, which I told Chris, I was like, I have to share this today, is our reverse osmosis water filter. Um, in Nashville, since I moved here, living in Atlanta, we had bad water. We had water boils all the time. We had brown water. It was like something all the time. So I was used to bad water. But here in Nashville, our water is completely different than it was even in Atlanta. And I feel like it's very contaminated as well. It's typically, we have a lot of like residue on our faucets and different things. So I've just been really diving into getting rid of lead, arsenic, things that are really just not good for you to drink. So the reverse osmosis water filter, it has mixed reviews. Some people say, oh, it takes out minerals. I love the clean taste that it gives. And I think it's also just something that I know it's coming into my body when I'm drinking the water. So big one there. And then we also changed up our coffee. We've been K-pop people since I can't even tell you. We love coffee. We drink so much coffee a day. I think that's like our one little vice. But one of the things too is to continue to get a stainless steel coffee pot with coffee filters that are stainless steel, not using plastic. Of course, all of those things. I didn't realize the value of, and Chris probably thinks I'm silly here, but one day I was like, Chris, the coffee or the K pods have plastic in them. Like I can see the plastic that we're going into our cup. And he's like, no way. And then one day we were drinking it and he's like, oh my gosh, there's plastic in my cup. And right there, that was just kind of enough for us to say it's time for a change. So a lot of information there, a lot of big changes. That's just a few of the ones we've done, but those seem to be like the kitchen ones that are really important to me right now. I'll share more, of course. But again, eliminating toxins. If you have any questions or want to ask us questions, we'll always address them on the pod. But those are the ones that I'm really trying to get out of our house.
Yeah, I mean, in our house, we drink UV filtered water now, coffee, and shout out Sam Pittman, good old Miller Lite. You know, that's the three
Gosh.
drinks that Christopher has here in the Kleinert household, sort of say. But sorry, Boo, it's been a long week and weekend. I decided to crack open a beer for the podcast tonight and just to enjoy it on a nice, beautiful, sunny afternoon here in Nashville as well. That's something we've been. Wow, I mean the weather's kicked in. We've been sitting on the patio, breezy. Um, it's
Yep.
getting warm quick though, so we're trying to enjoy the spring breeze as much as possible because we know it's about to get hot.
We were feeling it this morning. Speaking of getting hot, Chris and
Yeah,
I'll just lead
perfect
us into
transition.
the perfect transition. So
Oh,
one of the things I talked to you guys about is like having a kind of like a, I don't know, like a to-do list. It's not a to-do list because I don't want it to feel like it's something that I have to do, but it's things that I want to do now that I've been diagnosed, and things that I want to challenge myself. So it's kind of like a dream list, kind of like a wish list. I don't know. You can call it what you want. But one of the things this year was, if you've known, I've loved CrossFit always, loved being competitive, volleyball, all the things I've done in my life, something competitive. But I wanted to try a high rocks race. And a lot of my friends, a lot of people, that have CrossFitted or CrossFit are doing high rocks. And it just seems to be like a really inclusive atmosphere that I'm like, okay, this would be kind of fun to do. No true like goals here for us, just to do it, to be honest, because we have no idea what my blood sugar is going to do. This is the first time we're really going to test it in kind of an atmosphere like this. And we've had a really tough week of blood sugar, to be really honest. I've had a lot of highs, haven't felt great. So, again, it's going to be a real challenge for us. But we're doing our high rocks in Atlanta, and we're going to do the mixed doubles. We, like I said, have no expectations. We just want to finish it and survive. But I'm thrilled to do it because Chris is doing it with me. And we've had less than 3 weeks to train for it. Thank goodness we've been moving and being busy. But yeah, this morning we did our 5 mile run this morning with 400 squats, body squats, and the heat definitely started kicking into us today. I don't know how you felt today, Chris, but I felt the heat immediately. We were out really early.
Yeah, and thankful for the friends who got us connected with a person who unfortunately, couldn't make the High Rocks in Atlanta. Shira's been begging to do it, and she's been looking at dates, and I was like, I just don't think we're gonna we're not gonna be able to make it work this year. And then one of my good buddies slid in my DMs and said, "Hey, I know you and Shira like to do. You guys are fitness workout all the time. We've got, two High Rocks tickets for Atlanta." And my first thought was like, dear God, please delete this message so I don't have to like see it. And it put me in because I could have gone two ways. I could have just said, nope, can't do it. But I know Shire wanted to do it. And I was like, all right, get your ass in gear, Chris. We're going to train for this race. And so, thankful for some friends who got us the tickets. And yeah, we've been working out, and we feel pretty good about being able to do it. But the last two Sundays, we really challenged ourselves. This morning, yeah, we did 8 rounds of 1,000-meter runs with body squats in between, just to kind of simulate the movements and just the heaviness that our legs will feel. Running and doing the lifting and the motions in between. And yeah, this morning
Yep.
the heat kicked in for the first time. Where I was after 6 rounds, I was like, I'm cool to call it if we want to call it. But then there were some other fit people on the track with us that just kind of happened to be next to us, and they were going pretty hard, and it kind of motivated us to finish. I think we actually ended up doing probably the last 2 rounds better than our first six, just because we didn't want to look like wimps out there. But
Well, preface, if you are a CrossFitter, you know these people. I'll be honest with you, like I was so in, like I've been pacing Chris, and Chris has been saying with me, a lot of it just to keep me accountable and just keep checking on me to make sure I'm good to go. But so we're out there this morning, we are like busting it. And if you know what a high rocks is, 1,000 meters, and then you're going to do a movement, 8 rounds. So the first one would be, for example, ski erg. You have rowing, or be broad jumps, sled pulls, sled pushes, farmers carries. What am I forgetting? Wall balls and lunges, I believe. I might have forgot something in there, but everything in between. And so Chris and I are doing the mixed double, so we get to split the workout, however, pretty much what we're feeling. But we run. And we're running out there this morning. We're like, man, there's a lot of fit people out here running this morning with us. And if you're a CrossFitter, we know a lot of the CrossFitters are like, of course, pouring into high rocks as well as for all kinds of fun reasons. And Tia Toomey was out there running with James Newberry this morning and some, high level athletes. So we're like running, and like they catch in with us, and we're like, okay, this is great. And so then we have to push ourselves. We got to stay ahead of the pack, right? Like if they're coming, so we did a great job. I was really impressed with us. If anything, that was our winning right there. But
yeah,
I had no idea who we get done, and Chris was like, so you just ran with Tia Toomey, and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you didn't even pay attention. I was like, honey, I was just surviving. Like I was getting my
Yeah.
breathing right.
Tia came up behind us with the group, and she was cheering them on, like, "Don't stop, don't stop!" And I just pretended she was talking to us, and she may have been kind of cheering us on too, but because we literally got caught like right in their group, it was kind of cool. They were getting filmed and all that, so we couldn't just stop running. So we no, but it was cool. It was cool that there's a lot of big time athletes that are here in Nashville, and there's a really cool. It's an
Yep.
abandoned airport, actually, about 5 minutes from where we live, and so it's a great place to go run, bike, walk around. A lot of people go out there and train for these things, and so yeah, it was cool on a Sunday morning to kind of see somebody we watched, on TV and just from afar, to be kind of
Yeah.
running like 3 feet away from each other. She is definitely fit. I could see why she's been
Well,
the
Newberry's very too.
yeah, yeah, but I can see why she's been a champ for so long. It was very like, yep, she's on a different level. So that was pretty cool to do. So, and it motivated us to finish our workout, which was great as we prepare
Yep.
to do this High Rocks in Atlanta. And obviously, we lived in Atlanta a long time, so we're looking forward to a weekend of seeing friends and doing the race and just kind of hanging out. I was there this past week, and I was like, man, it's so beautiful. I was driving through the Georgia mountains and seeing some of our old places we used to go. It's pretty cool. I tried to go down and grab a cigar with some buddies, see my work friends, and so it was a. I'm looking forward to our weekend now to go back because we know we enjoyed it a lot, and so it'll be.
Yeah, we're
Hopefully, we
gonna
don't die.
start
We'll.
already. Yeah.
Uh,
Positively, the big challenge. Well, first of all, Tia was I think she holds the doubles women's record for the fastest time right now too. So excuse me, just seeing her out there and training was cool, like just to see somebody else doing it. And then also, we're just thrilled to be back in Atlanta, see some of our friends that are competing next weekend. So good luck to you if you're competing or you're competing this year. I'm also working to compete with one of my girlfriends this year too, maybe towards the end of the year. So super excited to do that as well. So yeah, this is something I'm gonna try and just like own in on and train for just because it seems to be a really good balance for me with lifting and running and working out. And so we'll see where it goes, but it's a lot of fun. And more than anything, we're just excited to challenge ourselves and see how this goes for me.
yeah. No, it'll be cool. It'll be cool to talk about the experience here in a couple of weeks when we do another pod.
We also have no clue kind of what we're getting ourselves into. Let's be very honest.
Yeah, it will. I'm sure we'll have some interesting stories from it, but nonetheless, we're excited, training for it. This week we'll take it a little bit lighter and get ready to go bust it next weekend. But no, I mean transitioning a little bit. I mean, obviously, our favorite sports seasons have they've kind of come to a close. We're big, football and college basketball fans. We've got the NBA playoffs going on. We'll get into that. We've talked college baseball, softball. We've got the NHL playoffs, which we kind of got into last year. Um, we started to figure that out a little bit, but yeah, what a Final Four! I mean, Paige Becker's. It was kind of a storybook ending for her career at UConn. I didn't realize UConn women have not won a national championship since 2016.
Yeah.
Um, and they were so
Mm-hmm.
dominant for so long, and they've been in the Final Four and they've been in the championship game, but just didn't realize that it's been that long since they've won the whole thing. So seeing how much that meant to Gino, obviously, like we were rooting for Paige big time to go out on top.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wanted my hoodie or jersey, and again, but mostly just because of like her career and how it's gone, and you just wanted to see her get a championship, and you could see how much that meant to everybody. And then the men's Final Four weekend, oh my gosh, Houston coming back to beat Duke was one of the definitely like probably game of the tournament, outside of the championship. But then Florida
Absolutely.
Florida did to Houston what Houston did to Duke and made a huge comeback to win the tournament. And you picked Florida from the get go to win the tournament. you were high on Houston too. So just the fact that you had both teams playing for the championship, quite impressive. We'll give you some creds there. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
but it was incredible. I mean, it was a great tournament. It always goes by way too fast. When spring kicks in, it's so much fun to watch games all day, especially when the weather's nice and it flew by. It was I'm always a little sad when college football ends. I'm always super sad when March Madness ends and the
Yeah.
countdown to the next season start for me. But overall, it was an awesome tournament, and it was just yeah, it was fun. I can't believe it's already been a couple weeks since it ended.
Well, this week or last week was kind of exciting to add to that because we had the WNBA draft, which was really cool to see.
Oh, but then
And just kind of like getting excited for the WNBA season coming up, which I really look forward to. I'm still cheering for our WNBA team to come to Nashville. But anyways, I thought it was really cool to see, some of these players like get drafted. If you are into like players and just like their personal, like Haley Van Lith story is really cool. What a cool thing to talk about how like her dad would run out her elementary gym at 4 a.m. in the morning so they could get practice in and her to shoot, and just some of the stories are really inspiring. And so I loved watching the WNBA draft. I think it's going to be really cool to see some of these players play this summer, and they just turn around like that. So it'll be a lot of fun. And then I got real excited too because we are getting into the fun part of the NBA, which is play in and now the playoffs. So I'm kind of rooting for some teams, some underdogs this year, and some of these games have been a lot of fun. Yeah, so kind of fill me in on your thoughts on NBA playoffs.
yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I'm a OKC Thunder fan. When Durant, Westbrook, Harden, those guys were there, it was so much fun, and they came close to winning the title, but they couldn't pull it off. And then Durant took off and
Oh, here we go.
crushed.
We're gonna go hear the
No,
cries.
I'm not
I'm
talking
a
about
huge
Durant.
KD fan.
Look, it was a long time
Been gone
ago.
for 7 years about this,
I
honey.
I know, I know. He's
Moved
been
on.
gone a while. Just it'll never. I will always kind of hate Kevin Durant for what he did. And Oklahoma City fans are fair to do that. Left us high and dry, but that's okay.
Here's why it's funny to me. Here's why it's funny to me because KD left. He's like the first person to actually like leave a program, leave his where he really was making something happen. Now everybody does it every day, and they trade all the time, and they're moving around, and they're
I know,
they're
and it
never.
sucks. It sucks. He started a trend.
I'm aware, but if you can't give KD grace, then you can't give any of the other players
I
grace.
don't. I don't give him a grace at all. He was just my favorite player on my favorite team, and
I
he
think
left
you're
on
just
my favorite holiday, 4th of July. So it was just this ultimate punch in the face.
anybody else realizing is listening to this. They're thinking, "Wow, Chris is holding on to this way
No,
too."
everyone agrees. He went to the Warriors, which the Thunder were up on 3 games to 1 in the series. Should have went to the finals. They didn't. It's Kevin
Absolutely.
Durant's fault, and I'm never gonna forgive him. That being
Oh
said,
dear.
back to 2025, the
Remember, we're
Thunder may
talking
be the
about
best.
team sports here, by the
The
way.
Thunder may be the best team in this year's playoffs, and they remind me a lot of the early Thunder days
They
because
do.
the team is very young. They play with more intensity and energy than a lot of other NBA teams, and I think that's why they're dominating them because they're just playing
Well, they
with a
also went
different
12 deep.
yeah, and they just play harder. There's something to prove. They're
Yep.
having fun doing it. They love each other. Like the cohesiveness of that team and the hunger that they play with. I mean, they won today by 50 points.
Yep.
Like that. Jeez, like the other Memphis, like you're NBA players too, and you lost by 50. Like that's embarrassing, but that's how good OKC is. I mean, they're going to have the MVP, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's going to win it.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a couple of hogs on there: Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe. So,
I'm gonna
um,
watch that for sure.
yeah. So I'm obviously like big time cheering for OKC. It's fun to see teams like Orlando and Detroit
Yeah.
back in the playoffs. I would love to see them upset, Boston. I don't think it'll happen, but Orlando, Boston's in the first series. I think Boston, Boston's good. been there, done that. Probably a little bit premature for an Orlando to overtake them early on, but really, I just think the West playoffs are going to be the most fun to watch. When you're talking Lakers with Luca and LeBron, OKC, Golden State with Jimmy Butler and joining the crew, they're just going to be intense. I think the West is going to be much more fun to watch. I think ultimately the champion will come from the West. Um, but
Okay.
we'll see how these first round matchups are. I mean, I hate blowouts.
Yeah.
I would love to see more intense, like close games. The first
Yep.
round's always a little, iffy with that. So we'll kind of see how these first round games go. But I think as we get into round two and then the semis and the finals, I think it's really going to get exciting.
I agree with you on that. I despise watching the Lakers play. It's been hard for me not to watch them because I'm a huge JJ Redick fan. So just seeing how he's made some changes there as far as personnel, attitudes, all the above. I love Dalton Connect from Tennessee. He plays there. A Luca fan, and of course an Austin Reeves fan because he's an Arkansas homegrown. They're fun to watch. I don't think that they're the best team by any means, but I think they're fun to watch, and they are the most eclectic group to watch too, if you really think about it, because it is just you have never put any of these together, and it's kind of working for them. So I enjoy watching the Lakers. The other team that I enjoy watching is Detroit. I think Cade Cunningham is going to be a superstar, is already a superstar, possibly. He's fun to watch. The Timberwolves, I love Anthony Edwards. They have some cool pieces this year too, and if they can figure it all out, they're gritty. They also kind of like feel like they got a big chip on their shoulder, so I'm enjoying watching them. I love OKC. Like I said, they run like 12 deep, and what's cool about them is for so many years we were watching them get these draft picks over and over again, and we're like, oh my gosh, if they don't get if they do not perform, it's going to be embarrassing. And they did it right. They're like people are talking about how their GM and everything has kind of worked, and their owner has worked, this way, and it's impressive to watch like some of the players that they have and how much fun that team has. So, huge OKC fan. When we talk about the East, it's hard to like really buy in, but I have to give Miami a little credit the other night. That was fun to watch their play in. I don't think Miami's the team by any means again, but they play Miami playoff basketball. And you know how I love me some Tyler Hero, and I think I love cheering for the Heat in the playoffs always.
Yeah. Yeah, and they'll play Cleveland, which got the number one seed in the East. Got the Knicks. You
Knicks are
know,
fun to watch too. Knicks are fun to
yeah, they're just they I think they went 0-8 versus Boston and Cleveland this year though. So there's just the East is a lot more top heavy than the West. We saw Minnesota
Oh,
pretty
fun
much
to watch.
dominate the Lakers last night because I mean Anthony Edwards, he's probably the most confident player in the league right now. A lot of people are kind of comparing. I mean, he's a little different than MJ, but his
Yeah.
style of play, his aggressiveness, I have totally I kind of like dog him a little bit because he can be a little much for me, but I mean he's a dog. I mean he
Oh, he's a
plays.
dog for
Yeah,
sure.
he's a
He
dog.
talked they talked about him like, how do you beat LeBron? Like one of his coaches was talking to him like, how do you beat LeBron? And he's like, you go through LeBron. Like you don't, there ain't no way around LeBron. And so, and I love that analogy. I think that's like there's so many things you could kind of take in there and process, but yeah, you go through him, and good luck, right? But like you got to go through him, and he kind of compared to MJ with Magic back in the day, and I thought that was a cool analogy as well. Speaking of MJ, hang on, I got to pause here because I took Chris yesterday to the PGA golf store, and again, I am not a like avid golfer like my husband. But the MJ retro cleats
Yeah,
to
the golf shoes.
golf shoes. I was dying how many pairs of MJ or Jordans they had. I was like overwhelmed. Yeah, it was really cool actually.
There's some sick golf shoes out there from the MJ. I may have to post on Instagram what they look
Yeah.
like. They had some gold to them. I actually hadn't seen those either, and I was like, "Dang, these are sick."
These are sick.
Um, yeah, those are cool.
Everybody, oh yeah. Sorry, Chris. I did not spend any money there yesterday. I was good. Um, I will hold my horses on the golf side.
Yeah, yeah, I've got a golf trip coming up, so wanted to go check out the PGA Superstore, take a look around at some different clubs, some shoes, some apparel, and yeah, I saw Shire's eyes get really wide looking at some clubs, and I was like, no, 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 we are not doing this, at least not right now. But she was like, oh, I could look cute in these clothes. I can go golf. I was like, that's not what we're
I
here for.
would
That's not what
love
we're
to
here
golf.
for.
I would love to golf. We can let's clean the slate here. Let's be real, okay? I would love to golf. Chris does not does that is his thing, and he knows it's going to be expensive for both of us.
Yeah.
So I respect that. I also love that it's his thing. I do enjoy golf a lot. I loved the Masters. Like I get into it this time of year, of course. And yeah, I used to when I taught PE, like golf was one of my favorite things to teach. So yeah, I enjoy it, but I'll hold my horses. I will let you spend that money on on the golf world. And yeah, it was a lot of fun though. And I
Hey,
enjoy
you,
it.
you saw how much those Jordan shoes were. Those were
I was putting it
expensive.
all together. I was like shoes, outfit, clubs, probably some training. I need some coaching. I need a bag. And
Uh,
like, oh, we cannot vacation anytime soon.
yeah, it's like, are we going to Vegas in September? Or are we going? You're gonna learn how to
Are you
golf.
gonna go golf?
I think we've settled on Vegas, thankfully.
Yep, we said there.
But yeah, I mean, the Masters was awesome too. We didn't really talk about that. Rory, you
So
know,
cool.
winning the Masters. He's got the green jacket finally. He's now won all four majors, which only a handful of golfers have ever accomplished in their careers. So he is in a very he's on the Mount Rushmore of golfers as
Hmm.
far as that accomplishment goes. Um, but it was intense. We went into Sunday with Bryson and McIlroy thinking it was going to be an epic battle.
Yep.
Bryson ended up falling back, and McIlroy almost gave it away. Had to go to a playoff with Justin
Yeah.
Rose, who he started the weekend hot, trickled back, and then made a really big push to try and win as well. But what a finish! Um, I know the Masters is something you and I would love to attend.
Yeah.
I sign up for tickets every year, but they do.
We
It's
just
a
don't get them.
yeah, it's a lottery. I mean, you essentially there's so many people that want to go, and you only get when you do win the chance to purchase tickets, you just got to do it. And so we'll keep trying. We know a lot of people that have been lucky enough to go, and we can't wait.
Yep.
There's and everyone we talk to, they say it's absolutely perfect. Like you can't
Hmm.
overhype it the way it's put together, the food, the experience. It's a once in a lifetime thing that hopefully we'll get to go to one day. But it kind of got us thinking on some of the like major events or
Yep.
major sporting events that you and I would want to attend.
Sure.
What I kind of have a little list that I
Okay.
created of things I want to go to, but what are some things that you would like to? What are some events you would like to attend?
Yeah. Well, I think one we is a no-brainer. I would love to go to a Super Bowl. And I think that would just be something unique. You say you've gone to it. Very fun. The other one that I would really love to go to is to a baseball college World Series.
Yeah.
I think that would be just so cool. Just the energy. It's just different. It's you get so many games, so many teams. You get around all the different teams and all the energy. So I think that would be something I would really enjoy.
Well, in Arkansas has made the College World Series a lot, and
Yes.
I think we have one of the better teams in
Yeah.
the NCAA this year. And I think if they make it, maybe we can pull off a trip to the College World Series. We've got a friend
Little
lives in Omaha.
Omaha.
Yeah, so we would yeah, College World Series. That's actually not one I have on my list, but that's a yeah, I would love to go watch Arkansas play in the College World Series for sure.
Yeah, and then I mean, for me, I know I'm a volleyball lover. I've been to the NCAA championships before. It's amazing. It's just such a cool atmosphere, and that was, probably 10 years ago. So to do that again would be amazing just to see like the growth in the sport, at a high
Oh
level
yeah.
like that. We've been to US, like the US beach, some of their like tour, which has been really cool, and did that in Atlanta and loved that. So that was another like bucket list item. But yeah, I think that would be something that I would really enjoy too. And then of course like the Love Volleyball, like they're doing their like kind of like championships now too, so that would be something I'd love to see. But yeah, Masters, College World Series, and then probably women's um volleyball finals again, just especially
Yeah,
because the sport's grown and how much we've been bought into that. And of course,
yeah.
the WNBA like finals would be so cool to go to
Oh
because
yeah,
watching last year, like the intensity of how that gymnasium was like just so like rivaled.
yeah. But one of the games that Sabrina hit a game-winning three,
Yep.
that like the arena, yeah, WNBA finals would be cool, and it'd be really cool if it was like Nashville hosted,
Oh yeah.
makes it one year. Um,
What about
Probably be
you?
the time we'd go.
What's
Oh,
yours?
yeah. So for me, obviously the Masters. The Masters would be up there 100%. We're gonna try for that every single year until we get to do it. Uh, Probably my number one though is the Kentucky Derby.
That's
I'm a
right. Yeah.
big horse race fan, like Arkansas Derby and at Oaklawn. It doesn't even have to be the Arkansas Derby. Like any horse racing weekend there, it's just so much fun to go like see the horses. They're so beautiful, majestic. There's something majestic about it. I love mint juleps, this time of year. So get
He's
the
about the
bourbon.
whole package.
Yeah, so I make mint juleps with the mint and the sugar and the bourbon and the crushed ice and the cup. I would love to go to the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
Um, and we're not very far from it anymore. We're in Nashville. It's only a few hours away. So at some point, would love to go do some of the Bourbon Trail, go to the Kentucky Derby. So big horse race fan. That would be number one. Masters, kind of a dream. So we'll just say Final Four. Would love to go to a Final Four, especially with. And if Arkansas makes it, we're probably going. So would
Oh,
love
for
for the
sure. Oh my
Final
gosh.
Four. Yeah, we're going. Yeah, not probably. We're going. I'll sell a kidney if I have to make sure we're in that stadium. But
Oh, it would be nice
um,
to sell a pancreas. I'd trade somebody.
yeah. Well, yeah. You don't have much left to give up, so it'll have to be me that gives up an organ to go. But a Final Four, we've got Calipari, we've got a team coming back. Next year's Final Four, I believe, is in Indianapolis, so
Close to us too.
not super far from us either.
Yep.
Yeah, so would love to go to a Final Four, especially with Arkansas. And then my last one's kind of a wild card. It's not one that I have a ton of control over. I can't just like buy a ticket knowing that the event's going to go on next year. But a dream for me would be for Arkansas to host a playoff game now that uh,
Yep.
football has home playoff games on college
Yes.
campuses. We are season ticket holders, so we would get first dibs to buy tickets. And I just feel like, I don't know,
So excited.
Fayetteville may burn down if we host a playoff game. It would just be, I don't think there would be any work. I think companies would take the whole week off and
I agree.
it would just be a party the whole week. That stadium would be so loud. And so that's kind of a dream. Obviously, Arkansas in the Final Four, and I don't even care if Arkansas wins the championship in football. Like it'd be great, but to host and win a playoff game,
Yep.
um, I just think that would be one of the coolest experiences. But yeah, Masters, Kentucky Derby, home college football playoff game, and a Final Four. Obviously, with the Final
On it.
Four and playoffs involving Arkansas. But I do like the College World Series. I think that's something we would love to go to. And the College World Series is tricky, though. It's like 10 to 12 days. So you
Yeah,
have
it's
to,
a haul.
yeah, you have to plan accordingly because your team may not, they may lose early or they may go to the
Yeah.
finals.
The other part of it too is it's in Omaha, which is not that. I mean, I know Omaha gets lit for College World Series, but like back in the day when I traveled to Omaha for volleyball, not my favorite place to travel. Not my favorite, but I think there's just something about like the whole atmosphere of watching the College World Series is really cool. And I wanted to pinpoint something that you just said. You talk about the Hogs. Um, and we could go on a whole nother podcast about this, but Calipari just did a social media post a couple days ago about being all in, and having his players like say like, "Hey, Arkansas, I'm all in," and I just thought that was the coolest thing especially with NIL going on and so much going on in the portal and just the changes. And again, they may not be all in, but just the energy of how he is like getting them to put their name out there that they are all in. He's doing something really special. And I again mistakenly have not followed Cal harder than I do now because he is one of the coolest coaches. Just watching him how he does things. So very cool. I want to just call that out. If you haven't seen
Yeah.
it, on his Instagram, it's really cool.
Yeah, and there's probably not a college basketball program that had a bigger week than Arkansas
Big
from the
week.
portal standpoint, having players come back. The way the season ended, where I saw the other day too, we're one of like 10 programs that are in the upper echelon of NIL money to spend. So I mean, we're doing it the right way. We're trying to get the best of the best. We've got the best of the best in coaching, and so yeah, I don't. Like I said, I was so sad when March Madness ended, especially like when the Hogs lost. But I know we've got a lot to look forward to when this next season rolls around.
That's right.
Uh, so it'll be good. Cal, yeah, bringing the energy this week. We've been kind of waiting. It's been kind of slow. We didn't know what was going on, and then dropped a bomb on us with Brazil and Wagner and Billy coming back and Carter Knox testing the waters, but
Yeah, love
feel
it.
like he may come back too,
For
maybe.
sure.
So,
For sure.
um, yeah, we got something to look forward to there. But no, I was gonna kind of end it on just again. We've been busy doing a lot of this other stuff, but we have caught up on some shows. Um, some good shows that we've gotten into. I was going to mention two in particular. I know you've been watching some different ones at the sauna and stuff, but I know one that we've gotten into is Landman with Billy Bob
Yeah.
Thornton on Paramount. I guess that's where we're watching it.
Yeah.
Uh, it's an intense show. Billy Bob's from Arkansas too. Shout out Arkansas, producing some high level people. But it's been a good show. That I don't know. I didn't think you were gonna get into it, but uh,
Yeah.
you sat down and you were like, oh, this is good.
Is it Allie Lauder or Allie Landry? I can't remember her name is, but she was on oh, what's the football movie that we like the
Varsity
old
Blues.
Varsity Blues. Yeah, she's like back in like the same. She looks like she was 20, and she's 50, so she's like awesome too. She's got a great. If you want some good funny, like good laughs, she brings some good fun to the show. The other show, if you want something fun that like warms your heart, which I really enjoy before we go to bed. I'm a big Seinfeld person. If you know, like we watch Seinfeld every night before we go to bed. That's like what we fall asleep to. But I'll wrap it up with if you haven't seen Later Daters,
Later
dating
daters.
late dating in your 50s, 60s, 70s plus. And this first season is based in Atlanta, so it's really cool to see like places in Atlanta and people in Atlanta. So it is a very, very sweet, enjoyable, and funny, and will just make your day for sure.
Yeah, we usually do an episode of Landman. It's really intense, and then we'll switch it over and watch an episode of Later Daters, which has been very like Shire said, funny, enjoyable. Just kind of seeing how people, again, we're not calling them old. It's just
Yeah.
something we've never paid attention to, and it's kind of fun to. It's lighthearted, something funny to watch, and then we always fall asleep to Seinfeld.
Yep.
And I know what have you been watching at the sauna? You've been watching some real estate show.
Oh, I've been watching selling selling Sunset,
Oh yeah,
selling OC, selling New York, all those selling. I get really into the high end retail or real
real
estate
estate.
story. Yeah, it's really fun to watch.
Yeah,
Not great, not great. So, but
we've
it's
got
fun.
we've got the one I don't remember the name of it, but the one in New York. I think there's a season 2 coming out this year. Ryan Serhant,
Yeah.
his group up there. We really enjoyed that last summer. We'll think of the name of it and share it. But yeah, no, I think good podcast, babe. We've got a lot going on. Anything else you want to share before we jump off?
No, we're gonna go make some steaks, enjoy our dinner, enjoy our evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll catch y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.